Peace. This is the enemy's public. And I am Bro.Nasir. I hope that everyone's having a good evening. This evening, we're going to get into, again, part 2 of Inside the Industry, the casting couch. We're going to get into that this evening. Bear with me 1 second. And we'll get right into it. There's a lot going on, and it's not what it's appearing to be. One thing I'm not going to do is get up here and defend Diddy. Not going to happen. Peace to my brother Relentless, Brown Liquor, No Ice, the original Small Hat Chief. Thank you for joining me, my brothers. I appreciate it. Now, when you hear a 10-year-old singing as if he or she were trained and they had no formal training, that is a child who possessed a gift. Oftentimes, it's something that he or she loved to do. You know, like Michael Jackson singing the song, Who's Loving You? The emotions that are heard in that song is as if he's gone through what he's singing about. Yet when these young artists are put into the hands of industry handlers, they take their love for the craft away from them and they replace it with horror. Whether they're a singer, rapper, actor, musician, even an athlete. There's several athletes who have given up their gift as an athlete because of the pressure, among other things, that are done in preparation to compete. Their talents, their gifts are not good enough for these predators. The monsters that are supposed to prepare them to display their talents. Now, greetings to Family First Podcast. I appreciate it. This is pertaining to a child performer and an adult performer. This happens to them both. The casting couch either makes a deal or breaks a deal, depending on how much of the artists are willing to compromise of integrity, virtue, or even their soul. Some people have sold all of these things for fame and fortune. Yet once you are bought, you are theirs, and you will not live your life as a normal person. Once you do something, you must continue to do something. The higher you get in fame and fortune, the more of yourself you must sacrifice. Your child, none of our children, should never make it in a business that compromise their virtue and their very soul. An adult can make their own decision, yet the same stands. The casting couch is a couch that's not comfortable. When you're told to relax, it's to get you in a compromising position and keep you there. I know what they show us. I know what we hear when we see them hugged up, saying good things about each other. This very industry causes stress and mental illness, depression, and sometimes people can't deal with it and take their own lives. What will make an actor or actress at the height of their career end up dead from suicide? At least that's what we're told. But for the sake of discussion, what causes this? Now, Orlando Brown was a funny young brother with quick wit and animation. So was Gary Coleman and others. Yet all the talent is drained out of these children at such an early age. By the time they reach adulthood, most of them are exhausted of energy and talent. Again, this pertains to every genre of entertainment. Tevin Campbell, the brother had a voice undescribable. His range and his pitch, my honest opinion, was the best that I've ever heard since a young Michael Jackson. Just look what this industry did to Tevin Campbell. Look at what the industry did to Freddie Jackson, one of the best voices of the 80s. This industry would use you, throw you away like soiled bathroom tissue. And it's crazy. Now, there's many artists that we'll like to see doing what they love to do, that we love to see and hear them doing. Now, the best artists are dispendable. They prove this to us. The best artists, the best-selling artists are dispendable. Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston, Luther Vandross. These are artists who marveled the world with their voices. Now, take a comedian like Robin Williams, a brilliant comedian who is no longer with us. For what reason? Among other talented people who we were told, peace to my brother Big Dog Philly OG, peace to my brother Hurricane JW. Thanks for joining me this evening. Robin Williams was at the height of his career. Peace to my brother Executive Sessions. Thanks for tapping in. I appreciate it. Sitting down and negotiating with evil people, I'm letting you know it will never end in your favor. There'll never be a fair exchange. You, the artist, greetings to my sister, respect to the true daughter of darkness. Thanks for tapping in. Again, when you negotiate with evil people, there'll never be a fair exchange. You will do all the compromising. Mostly of your personal self, your virtue, your righteousness, and your soul. This is what these people are after. They'll take the innocence of a child and they're never the same. Now, for example, look at Beyonce and look what she's become. She was a teen when she came into the industry with Destiny's Child. thinking that she was destined for greatness, in which she obtained. With the ultimate price, though, she gained the world and lost her soul. That's pertaining to Beyonce. She gained the world. She gained all the prominence, all the greatness. She was a Destiny's Child. Greetings to my brother Cuban Crisis. Destined for greatness. And the industry made a demon out of her. Success in the entertainment industry determines what level of evil you're willing to accept and endure. The red carpet is that color for a reason. Those who walk down the red carpet are willing participants, accepting whatever comes with it. All forms of entertainment today are one. All of it. If it entertains you, it's in the same realm, including politics and politicians, which is why they're used in an attempt to influence us politically, trying to control us, who they control, and through who they control. Sock puppets and string puppet entertainers. The artists, they are a commodity, something, someone, and someone to sell. Why will a already developed artist with a natural talent require being around a mogul as a child in the absence of their parents, calling it artist development? I need an answer to that question, because this is what happened to a lot of these young artists. And if you have a parent, peace to my brother P. Moses. Thanks for tapping in. We have parents that will want to be around their children as they're being developed as an artist. And then you'll have someone saying, you got to let me do this or your child's not going to make it in this business. We really have to pay attention. We got to pay attention. Why wouldn't someone who really had the child's best interest at heart insist that the parents be present? Now, it's a rhetorical question with specific answers. The reason why they wouldn't insist, because their motives are impugned. They have ulterior motives, and their motives are not good for that child or for even that adult. You got grown men who compromise themselves for the sake of looking at the big picture, wanting to make it in this industry, in this business. So they will sacrifice themselves. Now, we need to pay attention to what's going on. All of the entertainers who are rushing to the mic, attempting to distance themselves from Diddy because they know they have been compromised. They know that there's footage of them. They know what went on in them parties, and they participated. A lot of them unwillingly, a lot of them willingly. This is too little too late. Why weren't they speaking out before the arrest? You know, it was all good a month ago. And especially a lot of these entertainers were party favors to the hidden hand. And they were party favors for decades. As much money as Diddy have, businesses. What this industry does, they'll make you a bit nigga amongst your own people. You are underlink to them, and you are a server to the caterers. Because the hidden hand are the ones who cater these so-called, parties with the freak-offs. Now, while we are waiting to see what entertainer is exposed, we pay no attention to the hidden hands, the real culprits who threw the parties and financed them. We need to pay attention to that because they got us paying attention to the entertainers. Everybody want to see what entertainer is on the footage. Diddy is guilty of everything he did, as far as I'm concerned, what they're accusing him of. I'm not one to try people in public opinion, but I've been around, I've watched, and certain people I've been around told me certain things. Wendy Williams, for instance, I protected her a few times. And when we talked, everything that we see now, she told me back in 1997, when she was on Hot 97, she told me a lot of that stuff that's going on. And certain books that I've read, Mark Curry's book, Dancing with the Devil, How Puff Burnt the Bad Boys of Hip Hop. Mark Curry was a bad boy artist. I bought his book. I bought Black Dot's book, Hip Hop Decoded. I bought Professor Griff's book, The Psychological Covert War on Hip Hop. I read all those books. And I was with my team doing security at the gigs. I never did no parties, but we did security at the gigs, and a lot of these cats talked when we started talking about the industry. But the one who talked about the industry the most to us was Wendy Williams. She told us everything about how cutthroat and how filthy the industry and these Negroes in the industry are. Now, we're going to deal with the casting couch. A very uncomfortable couch where you do the compromising. And again, it's mostly of yourself. The glamoring glitz that we see, that the smiling faces, they will prop you up to make you look like you're the happiest person in the world. At the same time, you're the saddest person in the world, because they won't leave you alone asking you to do things. And for someone, I'm going to say allegedly, to drug someone and assault them, that's beyond foul. You're going to make a man a homosexual against his will by drugging him, putting him to sleep with ketamine, and taking advantage of that situation and recording it and holding it over the man's head. What kind of behavior is that? And who is the origin of such foul behavior? It's crazy. I have video to support my claims of the casting couch, and we're going to get into it. I appreciate everybody being here. And the casting couch is nothing new. It's nothing, absolutely nothing new. It goes back to the 1930s and 40s.
The term casting couch refers to the unethical and often illegal practice where individuals in power positions, usually in the entertainment industry, exploit aspiring actors or other professionals with the promise or implication of career advancement in exchange for sexual favors. Throughout Hollywood's history, there have been many rumors and stories about the casting couch. Here are some accounts and anecdotes that have been publicly discussed. Number 1. Judy Garland. Judy Garland remains an iconic figure in Hollywood history. Born Frances Ethel Gum, Garland was thrust into the limelight from a young age. Best remembered as Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz, her road to fame was not without its share of shadows. MGM Studios, where she signed a contract as a teenager, became a haven of success, but also a place of torment for the young actress. Louis B. Mayer, one of the most powerful figures at MGM, is alleged to have consistently abused his authority. Under the guise of praising her undeniable talent, he would touch her inappropriately, often placing his hands on her chest while complimenting her singing. Such moments provide a stark contrast to the glittering veneer of classic Hollywood, revealing an undercurrent of exploitation. Number 2, Marilyn Monroe, Norma Jean Mortensen, who the world later came to
Peace
adore
to my
as
good
Marilyn
brother,
Monroe,
the
epitomized
real
the
is
glamorous
McCoy.
Hollywood
Good to see you,
starlet,
brother.
but her luminous on-screen presence hid personal struggles and encounters with the dark side of the industry. In her candid memoirs, Monroe pulled back the curtain on Hollywood's casting couch, dubbing it its best-kept secret. Early in her career, when she was still finding her footing in the treacherous landscape of Tinseltown, she often had to defend herself against the advances of men who believed they could use their power to extract sexual favors in exchange for career opportunities. Her stories paint a picture of a deeply entrenched system that traded dreams for degradation. Number 3, Shirley Temple. The golden curls and infectious smile of Shirley Temple belied the unsavory experiences she encountered behind the scenes. At the tender age of 12, a shocking incident with an MGM producer thrust her into the murky waters of Hollywood's predatory culture. The producer allegedly exposed himself to her during what should have been a routine meeting. Her instinctual response, a burst of nervous laughter, served as a shield, although it irked the executive. The incident with Temple highlights that age was no barrier for Hollywood's predators, with even the industry's youngest stars being at risk. Number 4, Joan Collins. An actress of immense talent and beauty, Joan Collins's Hollywood journey was marred by an encounter that could have changed the trajectory of her career. As she once revealed, the coveted role of Cleopatra, which eventually went to Elizabeth Taylor, was dangled before her. The price? Yielding to the desires of a studio head, and rumors say the particular executive had a fondness for arranging large and grotesque orgies filled with dwarves, gay men, and the biggest actresses in Hollywood. There are other sick details of debauchery and sexual deviance that we cannot mention on YouTube. Collins's refusal to compromise her dignity over a film role speaks volumes about her character and throws light on the manipulative games played in studio boardrooms. Number 5, Tippi Hedren. Tippi Hedren's collaboration with Alfred Hitchcock, particularly in The Birds, cemented her status as a silver screen legend. But their professional relationship has a dark side. Hedren has spoken out about Hitchcock's incessant and unwanted advances. The director's obsession with Hedren reached alarming levels, and when she rejected him, he made her professional life incredibly challenging.
Now look at this big jabberjaws ass man, filthy man, pushing up on someone, making unwanted sexual advances towards a young woman. This is just damn shameful.
Hitchcock's behavior towards Hedren has become a cautionary tale, illustrating how even
Peace to my
cinematic
good brother,
geniuses can
Chris
harbor
Cyphers, the
deeply
Smokers
problematic
Lounge.
behaviors.
Salute, family.
Number 6, Mickey Rooney. Mickey Rooney's story serves as a poignant reminder that the casting couch did not exclusively prey upon women. A veritable powerhouse in his heyday, Rooney's memoirs provide a window into an often overlooked aspect of Hollywood's casting couch, its impact on men. He detailed an encounter where he was propositioned by a male MGM executive, revealing that power dynamics, rather than gender,
Mind you, MGM. They're the one who made the movie Birth of a Nation. The same studio, the same people who made the Birth of a Nation, who depicted our people as predators. And what's so crazy about that? They painted their faces black. They wouldn't even hire us as actors to play the parts. They painted their faces. And that movie actually helped spearhead and start the Ku Klux Klan, Birth of a Nation.
Gender often drove these exploitative interactions. Number 7. Maureen O'Hara. Maureen O'Hara's piercing gaze and captivating screen presence made her one of the most sought-after actresses of her time. However, her integrity off-screen was even more admirable. In a candid 1945 interview with The Hollywood Reporter, O'Hara took a bold step by publicly decrying the casting couch's pervasive culture. Her allegations revealed how her steadfast refusal to partake in the seedy underbelly of Hollywood led to professional repercussions, underscoring the industry-wide implications of standing up to powerful men. In Hollywood's golden age, the casting couch's shadowy presence persisted beneath the glitz and glamour. It was a system where dreams were held ransom, and silence was often the price of stardom. If you've enjoyed this video, we'd be honored if...
And what's crazy about that is they talked about Judy Garland. And Judy Garland, when they showed Judy Garland, she was, an adult woman, but they were doing some nefarious things to her when she was a child, a little girl.
if you subscribe to our channel and comment down below with your thoughts on the video. Until next time.
Now we're going to go to Your Honor, Mr. Judge Joe Brown. He's going to give us some insight on Hollywood. Holly Weird.
Bars is bad. CNN. Oh God. What's up with
Attention all my business owners, if you would like to advertise your business right before each video that we do here on Hip Hop News Uncensored, make sure you email us right now, advertise@hiphopun.com, advertise@hiphopun.com. Ask about our holiday specials.
Hip Hop Uncensored is the vibe, so subscribe. Hip Hop Uncensored is the vibe, so subscribe. God drops.
Sex, drugs, rock and roll, sex, drugs, hip hop, sex, drugs, TV, sex, drugs, movies, sex, drugs, basketball, football, baseball, etc.
Exactly. Or if it entertains you, it's under the same umbrella. All of entertainment is one. It's not separate. All of it's one. And it's intertwined with politics and politicians also. They frequent all those parties and everything.
I heard a lot of that. I heard sex, drugs, and BBD or BBC. But, we had a sexual revolution going on then where girls would walk around college campuses see-through with no pockets and no bra, see everything.
Wow.
We had the sexual revolution where girls would show up at parties to get high, get the drugs, get the whiskey, get the wine, and screw somebody in the off upstairs bedroom, screw several somebodies because it was an adventure. So you see people that purportedly were in that era. And if you were a grown man, young grown man then, and you saw what it looked like, you'd say, wow, that was what they were there for.
Mm-hmm.
So what are they complaining about? Well, I don't like to see women abused, but I mean, nobody's talking about that. They're just talking about remorse from trying to jumpstart something by getting connected. And once they got the connection, they couldn't make it happen. Now, where my show was was at KTLA Channel 5. That's where they shot it. Also, Judge Judy and Maybelline Ephraim for Divorce Court. She was shot on the same lot. And it used to be the Warner Brothers studio before it became the TV studio. It's right at Van Ness and Sunset Boulevard. Now,
That's exactly what they should do when we try to get in this industry. That's exactly what they should do. When brothers try to get in this industry, before they sit on that couch and compromise themselves, they should warn a brother. Just warn a brother.
they renovated the offices for my show. We called it the Plantation because it looked like that. So when they tore the sheetrock down, we discovered these steps that went down to some underground passageways. And it was fascinating walking through them because they had diagrams. And the person that had this office where the executive producer occupied for my show, Cecil B. DeMille, who had been the big man for Warner Brothers way back when, they were maps and diagrams so that he could go underground and up some stairs to these bungalows that used to be at the top of the stairs, go in through them so nobody could see them. And they had all of these starlets were there so he could do casting couch stuff. Wow. Nowadays, that's very unpopular to do the casting couch thing. But 50 years ago, 40 years ago, 45 years ago, it was not unusual. Now they still do casting couch, but it's not.
They do have people who are willing to do these things. The willing participants, it shouldn't even be such a thing that somebody will be willing to do in order to be able to display their talent. I think that's foul that somebody would have to be willing to do such things to be a singer, a rapper, or actor, or actress, or athlete, or musician. It shouldn't even be a such thing of that. But there's people who, they will compromise everything just to, have nearness to some wicked ass people. Now, Diddy is being charged with a lot of things. And some of the things he's being charged with is what we seen on videos. The same things that we see on videos, he's been charged with. If he put a beat to it, it could have been a music video. But some of these things he are actually charged with because he did them for real. It wasn't no acting. He was doing these things for real.
Not heterosexual anymore.
Could you explain exactly what the casting couch is for the people who don't know?
Well, that's when you try to jumpstart a questionable career, not with talent, but by
Gotcha.
Getting cast.
We'll make an exchange for the part,
Right.
Wow.
That I did have a few other questions, in particular to some of our soul queens in the industry. My first one is about Aretha Franklin. I think you probably had to hear about it.
It's going on now about
how they're trying to say the women are free and people are transgender, people are now offended or whatever the case may be.
Okay.
Like they do this to our legends.
The answer to that one, what are you and you, what am I, and everybody else you see, except for very, very few unfortunates who came out of a test tube.
Right. Yeah.
A successful screw.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And to have a successful screw, you need a man and a woman. So I got born to a natural woman. You got born to a natural woman. You got born to a natural woman, and everybody else did because they don't have machines for that these days. So we're supposed to throw natural women out and get upset with somebody singing it because we've got what amounts to the trans community. It's
Exactly. And you know, and that's, you know, when some of our people talk about, you know, classification and us being classified several times, which is the truth. And whether we're being classified for the wrong reason or a reason to protect us as a class of people. I hear some of us say that we've been classified and so-called white people have been classified, and we were. If we look at how others have empowered themselves as a classified people, that leaves us no excuse for using that because we were a classified people, that people are yelling foul on the play when they hear somebody say black. That sounds retarded. If other people could empower themselves as a class of people, so can we. And we need to stop with the semantics. The semantics is just really keeping us at a standstill. And we're arguing stupid ass points instead of moving on. And wherever we are, be productive. It doesn't matter what we call ourselves. If we're not empowering ourselves as that, no matter what it is, what's in a damn name?
we're around 0.3% of the country's population. So because that little minuscule amount gets upset because they have some problems with themselves, that doesn't mean the rest of us have to get into that. That's their business.
Right.
Get your freak on in your bedroom the way you want to get your freak on, but the rest of us, we don't necessarily go with that flow. We're not riding with you.
My interest is not what grown men and women do. That's not my interest. My interest is victims. That's my interest. I can care less about what a grown man and a grown woman do if they're willing. I don't care about that. If they're consenting and willing, we can't stop that. But when someone is coerced, manipulated, drugged, and all that, that's when it becomes problematic. That's what I care about. And it's a lot of that goes on with the casting culture inside the industry.
Yeah, your bedroom, your business. My next question would be about Whitney Houston. I don't know if you've seen the Lifetime movie. Somebody had it on in my house today. My wife had it on in the house, and I'm listening to it, and I'm like, "What the hell is this?" Like the first 10 minutes was about Bobby Brown, and then the drug use, and then further on, it always seems as though when they highlight Whitney Houston, it's never about the good. We never get to hear about her greatness and how she grew up in any of the good. It's always glamorizing what we all know and being the negative. But what's your thoughts if you've seen the movie from Lifetime?
I'm not going to see a movie like that.
Yeah.
And the other thing too, well, I don't think it's exactly accurate to put the blame all on Bobby Brown's shoulder. After all, he was considerably younger than she was.
Mm-hmm.
And some others might have something to say about it.
Mm-hmm.
I had bodyguards and security, and some of them had been involved, and what they had to say was not necessarily what the mainstream media was saying. So everybody has to take responsibility for their own actions. And part of this thing is not just trying to tear her down. That's not what this group.
That's what these people do. Whitney Houston is to this day, as far as her voice. It could never be another one. Could never be another Whitney Houston. Could never be another Luther Vandross. Never could be another Michael Jackson as far as a performer. We'll never have that again. Like I said, they're expendable. With all of their greatness. Three of the best performers that in my lifetime as a 58-year-old, they're expendable. They'll take them and throw them away like they are nothing. And that's exactly what they've done. And they will tarnish. They tried to tarnish all three of their images and their credibility and their careers while they were here, not after they died. They tried to do this while they were here. And if you try to exercise some power and use your mind, they set out to destroy you. First thing they do is they use their propaganda machine. Their propaganda machine worked for them. And they're going to say about you what they want them to say. Wacko jacko. They'll say that you're on drugs when you're not on drugs. When somebody accuses you of being on drugs, you gotta come, you gotta say you're not on drugs. And then they'll say you're suicidal. You gotta come out and say, look, I am not suicidal. So if something happened, they can say, well, he or she finally did it. That's the setup. Now, what I see, what's going on now with Diddy is bigger than him. He's the patsy, trying to make us the face of their bullshit that they've been doing for a long ass time. It's an indictment on our entire culture. That's what they're doing through him. They're indicting our entire culture. And they're going to make it hard for us to even organize in any kind of manner. They're going to make it illegal for us to organize through this nonsense.
Group is doing. They're trying to show you that it's all right. In other words, if you want to go do this, okay. It's always advantageous when you get attracted into something and then you self-destruct. It means they don't have to worry about you.
Exactly, Hurricane JW. They say that the counterintelligence program ended in 1974. That's a bunch of nonsense. All they did was rebrand it, calling it Homeland Security. That's all they did. The war on terror, the war on drugs, they just rebranded it. But the counterintelligence program it's self-explanatory. Whatever intelligence we gather, whether it's us delivering a message in this mess age to our people through hip hop, they countered that intelligence. When they had that meeting in 1989, the prison industrial complex with the record moguls and the record labels, that was a counterintelligence program because at that time you had artists, exactly, Hurricane JW, Patriot Act. They just rebranded the counterintelligence program. And what they did is because we were responding a certain way because of what we heard in our ears, like Fight the Power, different songs. I just used that one as a example. Certain songs that came out that made us wanted to react a certain way if something happened in our communities or to some of our people. We responded a certain way. So they had to change the trajectory and the energy. So they had the meeting with the prison industrial complex and the record companies, and they changed everything because they wanted us to respond different. Now, Fight the Power was 1989, 1990. But if the number one hit song on the radio today is Lit Me Like a Lollipop or Bitch Better Have My Money, that's how we're going to respond. And they pump this type of music on the airwaves, the same 8 records all day, every day. And it's in our psyche. And some of us don't even know it. You ever find yourself singing a song that you don't even like?
And getting into that means you don't create mischief by trying to do something effective.
Good. Definitely appreciate you, Judge Joe Brown, on the Hip Hop Uncensored podcast. Once again, drop your businesses, your social media, anything else you want to say right now. The floor is open.
Yeah, I'm running for.
I'm going to move on from this and move to the next video. It says Surviving Diddy Hip Hop's Secret Casting. Hip hop has a casting couch. Yes, it does. Don't get it twisted. Hip hop has a casting couch. Before you sign on the dotted line, some other things take place.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Hope y'all feel well. Thank you for joining me for this episode. They're our secret group, and they call it the Global Elite, and they control the music industry. These people are the chosen ones, and they also serve as gatekeepers, and they earn their position and are granted significant power in the music system. They decide who receives a major record deal and huge contracts as well. In other words, these gatekeepers are in charge of that particular agendas are pushed in the music industry, and they receive orders from the higher ups of what agendas to push. The global elite are the ones to blame for real music and street music, and they use the gatekeepers in the hip hop industry.
Yeah, I heard about
sign
that,
street
Hurricane.
papers, and they make sure that they promote a bad agenda to the youth. And if you reject their agenda, you will be blackballed. You will never be accepted in the mainstream industry again. And in this video, we're going to discuss how hip-hop has changed since the 90s. See, the 90s is regarded as hip-hop's royalty era, and Diddy was the go-to guy in the hip-hop industry because he knew how to create a star. He had a record label, and the record label's name was Bad Boy Records. That's one of the most successful record labels of all time. And
I think Diddy created stars, a star spelled backwards, because Biggie was talented. Faith Evans was talented. Carl Thomas talented. But everybody Diddy worked with was not talented. Among other producers and record label so-called moguls, everybody was not talented. Some of them were meager. Some of them were mediocre talents. But it was the compromising that made them, he put them out there. He made them known, famous, if you would. But some of these people didn't have talent. And he exploited that they didn't have talent. He got used by his handlers. I'm not going to use the hurt people phrase. it's a truth, it's a true phrase. But when you get to the point that all you can think about when you make it, when you're successful, is abusing your own people, exploiting your own people, I don't care what happened to you when you do that. I don't like when some of us pump our chest and want to be the standout among our people. I don't like that. When we should be doing things collectively. They put these Negroes in these positions to look down on their own and to exploit their own. Dog eat dog world. And it's done on purpose. You ever notice a lot of these people with the money they have, our so-called brothers and sisters with the money they have, they can't come and do nothing in the hood they came from. They don't allow that. What's the brother name? LeBron James. He couldn't go put the school in Akron. He had to put it somewhere else. That's a unwritten law you cannot do for your own. Greetings to my sister Sharon Walker. Thanks for tapping in. They don't allow us to do anything for our own. It has to be somewhere else and for somebody else. And they make us what I'll call a big nigga amongst our own.
And Diddy, he signed artists like Lil Kim, French Montana, Biggie, Mace, MGK, Genuine, and so many more. After graduating from high school, Diddy received his first opportunity to work in the music industry. It was in the early 90s. He was given a position at the infamous Uptown Records. And he was able to learn the whole industry as a young man. And he was fortunate enough to work with musicians such as Jodeci and Mary J. Blige. But with a blink of an eye, it seemed like it was all over because Diddy, he was fired from his position, but Diddy would make a massive comeback and he decided to create his own record label called Bad Boy Records. Before Diddy was fired from Uptown Records, he just so happened to sign one of the greatest rappers of all time, that is Biggie. When Biggie and Diddy met, Biggie had just dropped out of college and they started making music and they got hit after hit after hit. And this would come to an abrupt ending though, and Diddy's last album with Biggie was Ready to Die. It was almost like Biggie knew that it was about to happen, and after coming to my own assessment, I believe that Diddy may.
Who was the most successful artist on Bad Boy? Could someone put it in the chat? The most successful artist on Bad Boy.
Be involved with Biggie's demise, allegedly. A lot of people believe that the reason why Diddy may be involved with Biggie's demise is because he saw opportunity, he decided to take it, because he thought that Biggie was more worth when he was not alive than if he was alive. And one person who decided to air out Diddy's dirty laundry is Yago Wright, the former artist. She said that Diddy cheated Biggie out of a lot of money. Jago Wright.
The most successful artist ever on Bad Boy. Not before Biggie or Craig Mack. The most successful artist on Bad Boy. Could somebody name that artist?
Wright is saying that Biggie apparently asked Diddy to pay him a little bit more money under his record label contract. And Jaguar Wright has claimed that she knows a former entertainment lawyer who told her that Diddy allegedly signed Biggie to a slave contract. And this one spooky thing that Jaguar said was that
the most successful artist on Bad Boy, I'm going to give the answer, was Puff him damn self, the owner of the label. Everybody else, I said successful. He's the most successful artist on his label because just like Suge Knight said, he's dancing on the records. He wanted to be a star. He had people ghostwriting his rhymes. He was buying beats. He was exploiting his artists. Wasn't paying his artists. It was Diddy.
The former lawyer informed her that Diddy approached him, and he said that Diddy said, "Leave this alone. Do not get involved." That's what Diddy told him. After that, he fired the lawyer. And the infamous former bodyguard named Gene Deal also decided to expose Diddy, and he said that Diddy gave him a lot of money in a bag, and he said, "Go to an adult toy shop and buy me toys for women." And Gene Deal, he has claimed that Diddy would meet up with the rapper Ja Rule, and they would go to a party, they would go into a room, and there was only men in the room, and they would bring all the toys into the room, and all the people would have to sign an NDA. What you need to realize is there's a lot of people in the industry that have a story about Diddy. Legendary rapper Exhibit also have a story about Diddy. He's claiming that Diddy took him to a party in Miami, and Diddy went into a room, and there were only men in the room, and they were doing man-to-man activities. And I'm sure you have seen the Drink Champs episode when Diddy is calling Nori Daddy, which is really odd. And some users even claim that Diddy is somewhat connected to what happened to his ex-girlfriend named Kim Porter. And if you think about
We're
it,
gonna go to the next video, hip hop. We're gonna stay consistent with the subject. And then after this, we're gonna go to 10 celebs who tried to warn us about.
Harvey Weinstein scandal ignited the public debate about the sexual abuse of women.
This is the Street Soldiers. I don't even want to go. I'm Lisa Evers. I don't even want to deal with her. It's a video that I want to show. That as a matter of fact, I'm going to show that video now.
There are so many witnesses.
That's really
there are
really
so many
pertinent
victims.
to what I'm talking about. It's a video that I need everybody to see. That's very pertinent to what I'm talking about. And when you see this video, when you hear this man speak, you're gonna be like, wow, he's giving all these facts. He's giving facts. That's all I'm gonna say. Everything that he's saying is facts. Let me find it real quick. There's so many people, like Bryshire Gray, even Reginald Vell Johnson from Family Matters talked about the how they try to come at men in a sexual manner. So why isn't this? Give me 1 second, people. Not that one. Not that one.
And they had said to me, yo, I had to suck a lot of to get to this position.
I have a career, I'm an artist, I have a lot of things to lose.
In an unfolding scandal that's sending shockwaves through Hollywood, we've unearthed allegations that put Bryshire Gray, the Empire star, at the center of a web of exploitation allegedly orchestrated by none other than industry magnates like Diddy and, reportedly, Will Smith. Insiders are whispering about a clandestine list rumored to be extensive, of young male talents who have fallen prey to Diddy's and Smith's influence. The word on the street has it that Brashear, after attempting to blow the whistle on these high-powered figures, found himself on the receiving end of a harsh Hollywood punishment, a total industry blackout. They allegedly got him banned and blacklisted from Hollywood, sources claim. The veracity of these allegations remains a topic of heated debate, but one thing is clear. Brashear Gray's career has taken a nosedive into legal turmoil, including an arrest for domestic violence to which he pled guilty. As we peel back the layers of this sordid saga, one question looms large. What really is the truth behind Brashear Gray's precipitous fall from the spotlight? To unravel this web of intrigue, we must rewind to Brashear's early days in the industry.
My position on him, he was never a father figure, bruh. You understand? He was a groomer.
In his formative years, Brashear found a guiding force in Charlie Mack, who became his manager. Mack's Hollywood connections opened doors, leading Brashear to an online audition for Empire. This audition marked the beginning of Gray's journey.
In case everyone is wondering who Charlie Mack is, Charlie Mack and Will Smith are closely tied. Charlie Mack used to be Will Smith's bodyguard. Will Smith made a song, talking about him. Charlie Mack, the first out the limo. Big dude, about 6'6", 6'7", big dude. Charlie Mack, the first out the limo. He used to be Will Smith's bodyguard. And he started, he did the Suge Knight thing. Started making, developing artists. And Brashear Gray came through Charlie Mack, put him in the hands of Will Smith and allegedly Diddy.
Journey as Hakeem Lyon, a pivotal role in one of television's biggest shows at the time. The stage was set for Brashear's ascent, but the plot thickens.
To feel wearing.
It's some good fabric, but it takes us back to the New Edition days when it was on tour.
Shortly after joining the Empire cast, Charlie Mack introduced Brashear to the iconic Will Smith. What seemed like a promising mentee relationship, however, might have been the catalyst for Gray's downfall. Allegedly, Smith, in a bid to boost Brashear's budding music career, facilitated an introduction to none other than Diddy. The mentorship from two industry giants, Smith and Diddy, should have propelled Gray to new heights, but the reality appears to be far more complex.
If you're a halfway intelligent person, when do you start questioning how lucky some keep getting?
Right.
Unbeknownst to many, long-standing rumors within the industry have hinted at a clandestine relationship between Diddy and Will Smith. Reports spanning over 2 decades allude to unspeakable acts involving other men in the industry. Notably, individuals like Alexis Arquette and Jaguar Wright have publicly spoken about these alleged incidents. Arquette, revealing details about Will Smith's first marriage, claimed when Jada comes out as homosexual and her bearded husband admits his first marriage ended when she walked into him servicing his sugar daddy Benny Medina, then I will listen to them. Jaguar Wright added another layer to these allegations, suggesting that Smith engages in mentorship that veers into traumatic territory. She stated they both bisexual. They do weird things in their house, and young men have left their house screaming to get away from them in their mentorship. Could this be the dark underbelly of Brashear Gray's mentorship by Will Smith, ultimately culminating in his turbulent journey and unfulfilled potential in the music industry? The parallels between these revelations and Brashear's trajectory make us question the true nature of the mentorship that allegedly led him into the hands of Diddy, a figure now implicated in the shadows cast over his career.
Whatever I want, I get! Whatever I want, I get!
As we untangle the
people were actually cheering that on, and whatever I want, I get sounds creepy to me. That sounds creepy.
Threads of Brashear Gray's meteoric rise and abrupt fall, the plot thickens with shocking allegations against industry moguls Sean Combs, better known as Diddy, and Hollywood, Alistair Will Smith. The scandal takes a dark turn as we delve into a web of accusations, past and present, painting a disturbing picture of exploitation and abuse within the entertainment elite.
New lawsuit against Sean Diddy Combs, bringing some serious claims against the music mogul.
Diddy, a powerhouse in the music industry, now faces serious allegations from Kessie, an R&B singer and former romantic partner. In a federal lawsuit filed in Manhattan, Kessie accuses Diddy of a decade-long pattern of control and
Sharon
abuse.
Walker. Exactly.
The suit details a disturbing narrative where Diddy allegedly subjected Kessie to substances, physical violence, and coerced sexual encounters with male sex workers,
I want to
all
get
while
to the video
filming these
that I've
harrowing
been
events.
waiting to
The
play.
claims include a horrifying incident in 2018 where Kessie alleges Diddy forced himself into her home and assaulted her.
So she claims she did try to leave several times, but Diddy would always send his team to find her, track her down, bring her back, under the basis that her career would be ruined if she left.
Diddy's lawyer, Ben Brafman, vehemently denies these allegations, labeling them as offensive and outrageous. He asserts that Kessie's demand for $30 million, coupled with threats of a damaging tell, all.
Let me find that other video that I need us to see this video. This video is
Hey, what's up, y'all? Hope y'all feel well.
guaranteed.
Thank you for joining me for this episode. They're all a secret group, and they call it the Global Elite, and they control the music industry. These people are the chosen ones, and they also serve as gatekeepers, and they earn their position and are granted significant power in the music.
This is the video that I need everyone to see. Diddy and the American Dream.
Well, you know, from the angle of social commentary or social critique, the Diddy case is quite rich. There's a lot to talk about. For me, the most interesting thing is what is demonstrated on multiple levels about the Western psyche. I mean, whether it's Weinstein or Epstein or Diddy or, say, R. Kelly or Dominique Strauss-Kahn, who everyone forgets about, the predation and the degeneracy of the super rich is always met with disingenuous shock and disgust. While simultaneously, without fail, we're also always told that everyone knew what these people were doing for years. And in fact, I think that most people do understand that this is how the super rich behave. So the shock is not genuine. But if we're being honest, the disgust isn't genuine either. Because in fact, being rich enough to behave this way is precisely why many people want to be rich. The predation and the degeneracy are not peculiarities of the wealthy. The thing that makes them different is that they have the resources that enable them to do it. But for a very large percentage of people in the West, the only thing that's preventing them from behaving the same way is their comparative poverty, not their comparative piety. The rich are not necessarily any worse than the rest of the people morally. Their wealth just removes the constraints that restrict other people from being just as bad. I mean, if you look at popular entertainment, the sort of lifestyles that are promoted in popular entertainment and were promoted in the film and music industries by the likes of Weinstein and Diddy and R. Kelly and everyone else, that's the degenerate, debauched, hedonistic, anti-human, immoral lifestyle that they themselves were living and to which the consumers of that entertainment aspire. It's completely consistent with the mentality of colonizers and slave masters. The fantasy lifestyle for Westerners is brutal. It is to dominate, to humiliate, to exploit, abuse, subjugate, degrade, objectify, dehumanize, tyrannize, and enslave. That's the Western fantasy. It always was, and it is now, and they act upon it any chance they get. I mean, they'll prosecute these types of people, these select cases, only to absolve themselves.
Exactly.
You know, they need to burn someone at the stake just to convince themselves that they're better than them, that they're more righteous and more moral than them, but they're not. Most of them are not. I mean, look at any music video, almost any music video, and tell me how it's not promoting the exact same lifestyle that you claim to hate Epstein and Weinstein and Diddy for. Meanwhile, those videos have hundreds of millions of views and hundreds of millions of likes, and you memorize the words of those songs. You have a problem. You can't reform yourselves. You can't reform and rehabilitate your so-called civilization by just prosecuting token offenders.
Exactly.
Finding these people guilty doesn't make you innocent. When you made them rich and you made them famous on the very basis of the degenerate messaging that they promoted and that you devoured. You've endorsed it all along, and you endorse it now. You aspired to it then, and you aspire to it now. I mean, you literally have someone like Andrew Tate, who directly built his wealth through and for this very lifestyle, and by selling it to others, selling to others how they could do the same thing and have that same lifestyle. Because this is the Western male fantasy. I mean, think about it. Everybody in this case, in the Sean Combs case, everybody wants to know about the celebrities who were at those parties. No one wants to know about the nameless, faceless executives, the obscure, pasty old men for whom those parties were undoubtedly actually arranged in the first place. The celebrities were just the draw. They were the party favors. provided for those anonymous owners and controllers of global financialized capital. But you want to know about the celebrities, because even in your proclaimed disgust, you're still fantasizing. So I find the selective disgust to be performative. And that's actually useful. That's a useful thing to know about the Western.
Exactly. It's what I was saying earlier. Those who are rushing to the mic to try to get in front of this because you know what went on, you know what's going on. It is performative. Putting on a damn show. They're entertainers. Once someone get into one type of entertainment, they start branching out, get into other types of entertainment. And they're all actors.
Psyche and how they respond when the crimes of their society get highlighted. Because yes, in my view, these are crimes of Western society, because the individual crimes of someone like Diddy are reflective of the values and the aspirations of Western society itself. So when these crimes get highlighted, in other words, when for whatever reason, for any particular individual, these crimes are suddenly and selectively subject to accountability, there's a choir of hypocritical condemnation and outrage.
Yes.
Now that matters to me, for instance, in the context of the Article 6 campaign to expel the United States from the United Nations, because just like Diddy or Weinstein or whoever, just like those criminals, and just like how everyone has known about their degeneracy for years, so too everyone knows about America's crimes. And just like with Diddy or with Weinstein, everyone is complicitly silent until the moment of accountability comes. Then they all rush to a microphone to distance themselves and disown the criminal with self-absolving condemnation. So this is why you might see France and the UK not veto Article 6 at the Security Council, because once we bring all the US violations to light in an official venue, not just in an essay or a book or a lecture or what have you, but actually in an official legal venue, violation after violation, crime after crime, human rights abuse after human rights abuse, stretching back for 8 decades, and call it out for what it is, why France and the UK are likely to act just like every associate of Diddy or Weinstein or Epstein or any of these other degenerate predators, and race each other to the podium to condemn and distance themselves and exonerate themselves and try to salvage their own reputations and polish their own image and assure the world of how good they are, how law-abiding they are, how principled they are by throwing America under the bus. I mean, do you think that any of the European colonial powers were actually happy to watch the US take over their empires? No. France and the UK are both seething with bitterness and resentment and envy. While they'll be just as happy to watch America fall as all those associates and co-conspirators of Diddy are happy to watch that belligerent criminal go to jail if they have been clever enough to protect themselves from being prosecuted themselves for their association with him. I think France and the UK are just the same. They're in the same position as those associates of Diddy. They won't veto Article 6 because it would too blatantly expose them as being part of the same criminal syndicate as America. It's like cutting a deal for immunity with prosecutors. This is why it's useful to understand the psyche, because frankly, it helps with analysis and strategizing, to understand the Western psyche, to know who you're dealing with and how they behave. I mean, there are actually so many facets to this story in terms of social critique. Like the fact that, okay, someone like Diddy, and actually most of the artists who were associated with him were actually mediocre talents at best, with 1 or 2 exceptions. But you can literally see people uploading independently on social media today who are immeasurably more talented than these people are, than the people who the industry designates as being top-tier artists.
Exactly.
Now, to me, that reflects the financialization of the economy, whereby billionaires are created not by producing, not by creating, not by manufacturing, not by actually making excellent products, but just by manipulation of financial markets, virtual money, virtual valuation of shares, stocks, what have you. Like I've said before, Elon Musk did not become as rich as he is now by selling Teslas. He got rich through financialization and share buybacks of Tesla to artificially inflate the share price, resulting in his net worth ballooning for no reason whatsoever connected to production or to sales. So in the financialized economy, profit and wealth are disconnected from actually creating or manufacturing products of value. It is unearned money. So it's the same with artists. It's the same. A singer or a rapper or what have you, it's like a Tesla. They're just a financial instrument. Their profile is the source of their profit. Their celebrity is the source of their profit. And it doesn't matter at all whether they have any talent or not. Just like it doesn't matter that there are so many electric cars on the market that are objectively superior to Tesla. Nor does it matter even that electric cars anyway are already absurdities to begin with. No one cares. You only have a company so that you can have shares in that company. Making things is tertiary to the purpose of a company, just like talent and producing quality songs or performances or what have you is tertiary to the purposes of an artist or a performer. Entertainment and art have been financialized. So in other words, the people who are making the most money and who are running those sectors don't care even slightly about quality or producing anything of real artistic value. This is why you have so many celebrities that everyone wonders why on earth they are celebrities when they observably have no talent whatsoever. I mean, the most obvious example, of course, is the Kardashians, who don't even pretend to have a talent. But I mean, you can find countless others among those people who the entertainment industry tells us are the most talented people in their field, but who are painfully mediocre in reality. Well, okay, this is in and of itself corruption. These are people who have built wealth without building value. So it's both corruption and immaturity. It's deceitful and parasitic, and it divorces reward from merit, from work, from discipline, from worth. It's getting without deserving. So you don't go through the development process as a person or as a society that you have to go through to actually deserve reward. That's the maturation process that can actually make you appreciate the reward once you have earned it. It's the maturation process that gives you integrity. Because unearned reward is just the other side of the coin of unaccountability. You know, if you can have unearned reward, then you will also feel that you should not have earned punishment. These are the two sides of the same attitude. Because you.
That is very important. When someone have unearned rewards, then you will get you. Then there's no accountability. It's like when you do things, someone who have unearned rewards, when they do things, they don't want to be held accountable. There's no self accountability, and they feel they're untouchable and they're chest out with what they do, regardless to how wrong it is. They are chest out, and they feel like they won't be uncovered, discovered, and punished. And they'll continue to do things for decades, not caring because, again, and it's who they're doing this dirt with. They always feel like they can run to somebody to be protected. But my saying has always been for years, these demons do the dirt with you to get the dirt on you. They know you did it because they was there doing it with you. Yet you are just a underlink. Diddy is Jeffrey on the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. In comparison to his handlers, he's the servant, the server to the caterer of what's going on. He's the fall guy, and they're putting his face and making him the face of their degeneracy.
As you gained your wealth and your fame and so on outside the traditional framework of merit, hard work, and talent, so you will also feel that you exist outside the framework of accountability in terms of your wrongdoing. You're someone for whom the rules do not apply, because if the rules applied, well, then you wouldn't even be rich and famous, because you don't deserve that and you haven't earned that by producing value. So you think that the rules don't apply either to your merit or to your demerit. This is very, very Western. So now you have people controlling incredibly influential cultural sectors who don't care in the least about producing quality. These people give you the soundtrack, the reference points, the lexicon, the standards, the style, the attitude, the perspective, the personality, the ambiance that pervades your whole society and culture. These degenerate, deranged, deceitful, diabolical people are like the cinematographers who set the framing of your view of the world.
Wow.
They're the filter of popular culture that's placed over the lens through which you see reality. And it's a very dark and very warped lens.
Now, there's a book that we can read. I've read it, that talks about what he's talking about, and it's called the Tavistock Institute. The Tavistock, they're the ones who create the trends, and they're the ones who does things like 50 to 100 years in advance. Whatever we see was already planned. They planned these things, these events. They plan everything that's going on. They plan it decades in advance. So when you get a chance, go to a bookstore. Of course, pick up Fire, my wife's book first. I got to plug that. And then get the Tavistock.
But again, this is your so-called civilization. You know, you have this thing now going around now. I've seen it online that people openly talk about, what they call yachting, which is nothing but celebrities and models and actors, singers, what have you, literally being paid to fornicate with wealthy men on yachts, basically floating Diddy parties. And no one's offended, no one is outraged. Somehow for you, this is not disgusting. Because the lottery mentality of the West, you all hope to one day be one of those rich men on one of those yachts. Because you just take it as a given that this is the sort of thing that the rich get up to. And the only reason you don't get up to the same kind of debauchery and the same kind of predation as the rich is just because your finances prevent you. Not your morality, your finances. I mean, do you see how this looks to a Muslim? I mean, we see your social media platforms, Instagram, X, what have you, Facebook. These are largely being used just as delivery platforms, directing people to OnlyFans accounts or bookings for prostitutes. Your whole popular culture hypersexualizes women, glorifies violence, condones prostitution, promiscuity, drug use, drinking, pimping, gangsterism, and crime. And then you clutch your pearls in shock and disgust when one of you gets
Exactly. All of what he mentioned have executive producers. I don't know how it is now, but when they were doing music years ago, they had album listening parties, and they'll listen to the entire album. I remember a time when they will bleep out songs. They may as well not make a clean version today. Because if a song is that way all the way through, how can you make a clean version? And not only that, I don't know how it is in other areas. They just play it today. I heard a song, Bitch Better Have My Money. And it's a female on that song. Almost lost my damn mind on the radio. When The Message came out when Melly Mel said broken glass everywhere, people pissing on the steps, they just don't care. They bleeped out piss. They bleeped that out. And they just let it go today. My brother Sir Drop TV. Peace.
Caught doing in real life what you always promoted in your songs and videos and movies. When you get caught acting in real life the same way that you acted on screen. When you get caught living the lifestyle that all of you tell each other is living the dream.
Absolutely, Sister Chrissy. Absolutely.
Right, it looks to a Muslim like the only thing that you're actually offended about or outraged about is the getting caught part. But then, like I said, you just use those opportunities as a chance to pretend to be disgusted by the behavior of people whom you made rich because they promoted that same behavior in their songs and movies and videos. I mean, why weren't you disgusted by it when it was put to a beat? Why, if Diddy had released tapes of his parties in the form of music videos, his net worth would have tripled and he probably would have gotten a VMA award. Because the fact is, you approve of all this. You aspire to it. And in fact, that degenerate lifestyle, that predation, and that debauchery with impunity is actually the American dream. It's the colonizer, slave master, Western imperialist dream. And for anyone who's over there in the States or in the West who genuinely, truly does feel disgusted and outraged over this kind of thing, because I know there are some of you, all I can say is, you know how they talk about situational awareness? Having that awareness of your surroundings and what's going on around you so that you can be alert to any threats or dangers nearby. Well, let's call this civilizational awareness. And just like someone who is oblivious to the threats and dangers around them on the street, you say that they have low situational awareness. Well, you have low civilizational awareness because you are truly walking around in a cloud of propaganda and indoctrination and obliviousness about the reality of the so-called civilization that you live in. You think that you're walking around in a park in the middle of a sunny afternoon surrounded by flowers and animals, but you're actually in a dead-end alley at 3 in the morning in the pitch dark and you're surrounded by psychopaths and serial killers. No, people like Epstein and Weinstein and Sean Combs are not anomalies. You're the anomaly. And in that predatory society, that makes you nothing but prey.
Yeah, I like I like this channel altogether. It's a good channel. I gotta listen to it more. Now, I'm going to go to, before it was Diddy, there was Tommy Mottola. The true
I remember we
evil
got
of the
into Tommy
industry.
Mottola's office and we were singing, and he was like fiddling around on his desk and he wasn't even paying attention. And I just stopped us in the middle of our first song. I was like, can you at least act like you're paying attention and not look out the window while we're
My brother McCrae, salute. Thanks for tapping in.
singing?
Tommy Mottola is the president of the record division. He is a mean, he's a racist, and he's very, very, very devilish.
Everybody knows what happened between her and Tommy Mottola in that on the way to her first listening party.
I didn't feel like he got the fact that I was also, a human being with my own feelings and thoughts and needs, even before the actual marriage.
Once married to Tommy Mottola, the most powerful man in the music industry, legendary singer Mariah Carey soon discovered his controlling and obsessive nature. She revealed that they lived in a massive mansion equipped with security cameras and staffed by armed guards, making her feel trapped and isolated. Mottola controlled her every move.
I didn't feel like he got the fact that I was also, a human being with my own feelings and thoughts and needs, even before the actual marriage.
She got away from his ass fast. Good for her.
The diva even referred to her home as Sing Sing, drawing a parallel to a nearby prison, reflecting the suffocating atmosphere she experienced within her marriage. Unfortunately, this unsettling living situation was only the tip of the iceberg when it came to the nightmare that Mariah would endure in her relationship with the music mogul. Upon her rise to stardom, Mariah Carey faced not only the exhaustion and stress of her demanding career, but also the heavy weight of her awful relationships with her family. She openly shared that as soon as she found success, her family began treating her like an ATM with a wig on, leaving her feeling betrayed and distrustful of those closest to her. In her search for companionship and support, the singer sought partnerships outside her family. Unfortunately, this led her to find support from the wrong person, complicating her life even further. As Mariah navigated the insanity of fame, she learned the importance of establishing boundaries and discerning genuine connections amidst the challenges and expectations that come with being a global superstar. Mariah found love with music industry titan Tommy Mottola, who was her manager during the recording of her third album, Music Box. At the time, the young starlet was 23 years old, while the experienced Mottola was 44. Ignoring the significant age gap and potential conflict of interest, the couple embarked on a passionate whirlwind romance that captured the public's attention. The duo's love story culminated in a glamorous,
Old enough to be her damn father. Wow.
extravagant wedding in 1993, cementing their status as a high-profile power couple. However, beneath the surface, their relationship was not without its challenges. Mariah and Tommy would eventually face obstacles that would test their bond and ultimately lead to the end of their once fairy tale-like romance. The singer's relationship with Tommy Mottola left her feeling constantly monitored and confined, not to mention the blow to her self-esteem and sense of confidence. Whenever she moved around the mansion, Mottola or one of the guards would use the intercom system to question why. This overwhelming sense of surveillance eventually got the best of her. Driven to the edge, Mariah began devising an escape plan. She kept a secret bag filled with essentials hidden under her bed, making sure that if she ever reached a breaking point, she could quickly grab the bag and flee. This proves the extent of the overwhelming fear she felt during her marriage to Mottola. In the singer's memoir, she recounts an unsettling experience with Mottola during a dinner party they hosted for music industry professionals. What began as a glamorous evening quickly took a sinister turn. Mottola became upset and started ranting, escalating the situation by dragging a butter knife across Mariah's face, leaving her terrified. The fact that none of the guests intervened to stop Mottola's threatening behavior is a testament to his power and influence within the industry. This chilling incident further underscores the dark side of Mariah's marriage to the music mogul and the control he wielded over her life. Mottola, who has previously admitted to having been a controlling husband, appeared to be attempting to get out ahead of the story when he told Page Six, ahead of the launch of The Meaning of Mariah Carey. I am deeply gratified to have played that role in Mariah's well-deserved and remarkable success and continue to wish her and her family only the very best. Those careful well wishes, however, are likely to be swept aside by the devastating picture Mariah paints in her new book of the multiple torments Mottola, the then boss of Sony, whom she met when she was 18 and he was 39, allegedly inflicted on her. While the singer does concede that he was a brilliant businessman and executive, and credits him with encouraging her to record a Christmas album, resulting in the multi-million selling All I Want for Christmas Is You, the few plaudits are more than wiped away by a ceaseless tide of accusations against Mottola. As earlier mentioned, among the most disturbing are allegations that he monitored her every move inside her own home with security cameras, wouldn't let her leave the home without his explicit permission, recruited staff to spy on her, and menacingly ran a butter knife along her cheek and down her throat in the company of two of his friends when he realized the marriage was over. She also comes close to accusing Mottola of racism at several moments in the book, writing, for example, "From the moment Tommy signed me, he tried to wash the urban look off of me. Just as he did with my appearance, Tommy smoothed out the songs for Sony, trying to make them more general, more universal, more ambiguous. I always felt like he wanted to convert me into what he understood, a mainstream artist, with that meaning Mottola wanted her to be more white in her music." In another episode recounted in the book, Mottola, who is white, flies into a rage when Mariah praises Sean Combs, also known as Diddy. Mottola says, "Puffy will be shining my shoes in 2 years." The singer says this was one of the very few times I stood up to Tommy, telling him that what he had said was blatantly racist. Modela is then said to have gone into what Mariah terms a Tommy tantrum and vibrating with rage, slamming his fist on the table and announcing, "I just want everybody to know that Thanksgiving is canceled." She also says, "Tommy never wanted to talk about my biracial identity. If he wasn't ashamed of it, he certainly didn't want to promote it." Describing how the couple's $32 million home was fully staffed with armed guards who she accuses of being spies for Mottola, she writes, "I understood that security was necessary, but why was it necessary for them all to be white with blue eyes and black guns?" She says the house was equipped with motion-sensitive cameras inside and out and describes hiding in her shoe closet to have a private conversation. She refers to the house as Sing Sing, after the maximum security prison in upstate New York. It was fully staffed with armed guards, security cameras were installed in most rooms, and Tommy was in control, she writes. In one section, she writes of the relationship.
That is absolutely creepy. Security cameras in every room and guards inside the house. Yeah, that was Sing Sing. That was a damn prison.
Relationship with Mottola. It's not that there are no words, it's just that they still get stuck moving up from my gut, or they disappear into the thickness of my anxiety. He rolled over me like a fog. At the beginning of our time together, I was walking on eggshells. Then it became a bed of nails and then a minefield. I never knew when or what would make him blow, and the anxiety was relentless. Mariah says she wasn't allowed to talk to anyone that wasn't under Tommy's control. She describes having to sneak downstairs for a snack or to sit at the table and write down some lyrics. But every time, right as I would start to settle into the calm of the
When you sit on a couch with evil people, there's not going to be a fair exchange. You would do the compromising on the casting couch. You do the compromising. And it's, of yourself. You're compromising yourself by sitting with these evil people. It's not about the talent of the artist. It's not about that talent. It's about manipulation and exploitation of a human being. Your talent is the commodity, what they're going to sell, but they really want to control that individual. You have to say no. It's like the brother Cat Williams said, you have to say no. When they tell you you're not going to make it in the industry or in this business, if you have to do all that to make it in the industry, you're at the valley of decision, the fork in the road. You have to make that decision at that moment. And if you want to live a normal life, I know it looks good when you see people on the red carpet and they're stopping, reporters are talking to them. It looks good. But you're at the valley of decision. You have to determine how you want to live your life. The glamour and glitz is just when they say action and the cameras are on. But when they say cut, it's a different thing.
quiet, dark, and begin to find my breath. Beep, beep. The intercom would go off. I'd jump up and the words, "What you doing?" would crackle through the speaker. The singer writes,
That's exactly what it sounds like to me also, my brother, Cuban Crisis.
"Every move I made, everywhere I went, I was monitored, minute by minute, day after day, year after year. I was living my dream but couldn't leave my house. Lonely and trapped, I was held captive."
She was a possession to him. This is how you treat a possession. She was a possession to Tony Mottola. And probably like every other artist that was under him. He thought he can control Michael Jackson like that. But, he couldn't. And we seen what happened. We seen what happened with the brother.
Captive in that relationship. Captivity and control come in many forms, but the goal is always the same: to break down the captive's will, to decay any notion of self-worth, and erase the person's memory of their own soul. Mariah writes that she initially saw Motola's strength and power as a way of protecting
Noble Nymph, salute, brother. Peace.
her from her own dysfunctional family of origin, and says that in the early days of their relationship, he would tell her, "You're the most talented person I've ever met," or "You can be as big as Michael Jackson." The award-winning vocalist says she realized she had to leave Mottola when he flew into a rage after she went to Burger King with a female rapper without permission. In another jaw-dropping revelation, she says that she recruited her acting coach, ironically handpicked by Mottola, to help her carve out a safe space, secretly renting an apartment under a false name in a building connected by a private passageway to the coach's building. However, perhaps the most disturbing moment comes at the end of the marriage. Tommy walked over and picked up the butter knife from the place sitting in front of me. He pressed the flat side of it against my right cheek. Every muscle in my face clenched. My entire body was locked in place. My lungs stiffened. Tommy held the knife there. His boys watched and didn't say a word. After what seemed like forever, he slowly dragged the thin, cool strip of metal down my burning face. I was searing with rage from the excruciating humiliation of his terrifying, cowardly performance in my kitchen in front of my colleagues. That was his last show with me, as the captive audience at Sing Sing. Mariah cites a 1996 Vanity Fair story that reported on just some of his antics, but it totally helped justify my claims of his maniacal control and surveillance. Mottola, in his 2013 memoir, admitted being obsessive, but said she had given harsh and untrue descriptions of their relationship. In 1990, Mottola signed Mariah to a music contract and announced his divorce from his then-wife of 19 years, Lisa Clark. 3 years later, the two got married. In her memoir, Mariah wrote about meeting former baseball player Derek Jeter during the mid-90s at a dinner. The two exchanged numbers and began sneaking around with their relationship. The singer thought Jeter was her soulmate at the time because he was proof that she could have something beautiful on the other side of the hell that was her marriage. While their relationship was brief, the singer thanked Jeter in her book for being the reason she was able to escape her marriage to Mottola, according to an interview on the Apple TV Plus series, The Oprah Conversation. Jeter was a catalyst that helped me get out of that relationship because I believed there was somebody else, Mariah told Oprah, according to Entertainment Tonight. He was also doing his dream job and living his dream job, and I believe we connected in that way. Years after Mariah and Mottola's divorce, the It's Like That singer felt as if her ex-husband was still trying to control her career. In 2001, Mottola allegedly instructed hip-hop producer Irv Gotti to make a song for Jennifer Lopez that was similar to one on Mariah's record for the semi-autobiographical film Glitter, according to Fox News. In her 2020 memoir, according to 2Fab, the singer felt that much of the hate Glitter received had been Mottola's fault. Much of what went wrong with Glitter led back to Tommy, Mariah wrote. He was angry about the divorce and my departure from Sony, and he used all his power and connections to punish me. Apparently, Mottola had a creepy past, much that Mariah didn't know about when she decided to marry him. Mottola grew up in the Bronx, the son of an Italian-American customs broker who may have had ties to organized crime. The Mottolas
And exactly what he sound like. He sound like somebody who would be tied to organized crime that would treat his woman like she's a possession. Come on, cameras all inside the house. I can understand like outside the house, or if you got small children who's a latchkey child that you're at work and your child got to come home and you want to make sure your children are okay. But to have cameras all over the house and then security walking all around the house, yeah, that's creepy.
were upwardly mobile enough to move to the suburbs, where Tommy became a face on the local rock and roll scene. He started dating the daughter of Samuel Clark, a music industry veteran who started in Tin Pan Alley, spent years in the jukebox business, and finally became president of ABC Records. One source later said of Clark, "That was a mob business. Not everyone in it was a hood, but everybody who was in it was dealing with somebody who was a hood. If Sam wasn't tough, he wouldn't have survived." Mottola married Clark's daughter and tried to make it in the music industry as a singer. His pop career didn't work out, but he had more luck when he moved into management. In the mid-70s, he stumbled across a promising band called Whole Oats. He suggested the rebrand as Hall & Oates, got them a lucrative deal with RCA, and guided them to superstar status.
Yeah, Hall and Oates, they was dope. They did some good music. Sarah Smile, I Can't Go For That, among other Man Eater. You know, good songs, Hall and Oates.
He also signed a contract that would make Colonel Tom wince, entitling him to 25% gross of Hall & Oates earnings. They struggled with bankruptcy in a later year. His business soared. Around this time, Mottola started portraying himself as a gangster. He liked to wear flashy purple leather jackets, and he founded a new management company called Don Tommy Enterprises. Maurice Levy took Mottola under his wing and started teaching him the dark arts of record promotion. He also introduced him to people like Vincente Vinny the Chin Gigante, who once ordered a hit on John Gotti. Mottola's career soared in the 80s, and he soon became the right-hand man for Walter Yetnikoff.
Gigante. That's the guy who was around when I believe Bumpy Johnson was around. Gigante.
Head of CBS Records, which was now part of Sony. Yetnikoff was a larger-than-life figure who also enjoyed hanging out with shady characters and was linked to the record promoter Joseph Isgro, who was involved with the Gambino family and charged with using violent payola tactics, in which he was cleared, but later jailed on other charges. Mottola had so many unsavory links that Sony felt compelled to do an FBI check as he rose through the ranks. Their opinion of Tommy was, no, this guy is not somebody who will start dealing with people we should worry about, but he has friends who do. Mottola's mobster image didn't hold him back. If anything, his ruthless boardroom behavior was his biggest asset. He became known as a bruiser, a shark, a guy who wasn't queasy about doing dirty work. Walter Yetnikoff trusted him as his right-hand man. Then, in 1990, Walter Yetnikoff was ousted in a coup that Mottola may have orchestrated. Tommy became the head of Sony Music in America and was on his way to becoming the most powerful man in the music business. But first, he was about to launch the career of his protege-turned-lover, Mariah Carey. So, was Tommy Mottola really a gangster, or was it all a facade? It's hard to say. John Mellencamp once laughed at the idea of Mottola as a hard man, saying he couldn't whip S with an egg beater. Mottola never tried too hard to dispel the mobster allegations. He's a man given to self-mythologizing. When he signed Mariah, he concocted a fable about how she was a penniless waitress who snuck into a fancy ball, and he was the Prince Charming who found her demo tape, but she had vanished when he looked for her. However, the truth is more prosaic. One of Mottola's rivals discovered and wanted to sign Mariah. Tommy swooped in with a larger offer. When Mariah and Mottola married in 1993, they copied every detail of Charles and Diana's royal wedding, with Mariah studying videos of Di's dress and movement. The lavish ceremony was described by some as being more like a coronation than a wedding. Tommy also lived the dark side of the mafia fantasy. At the height of his powers, he always carried a gun and traveled in a bulletproof limo. His office blinds were permanently closed to protect him against snipers. This paranoia extended to his new wife, who was frequently shut at home and only allowed out under supervision. Mottola's controlling behavior extended to her music. Mariah was young and cool, and she wanted to make R&B and hip-hop records. Tommy refused, insisting that she perform the kind of syrupy pop that defined her early career. Mariah was one of the world's biggest pop stars in 1993, but she was living like a gangster's mole. Today, the 75-year-old business mogul is still kicking it, while 54-year-old Mariah has been slow on music lately. And that's it from us today. Until next time, thank you for watching.
I want to thank everyone for joining me this evening. I appreciate it. I hope that this was some pertinent information. Hope you enjoyed the stream. I appreciate you all for joining me this evening. Sunday, I will be doing a stream called Intellectual Master Baiters. And It's mass, MASS, debaters. Those of us who are always turning a conversation into a debate. It's not the Vogel word, it's intellectual mass debaters. I will be doing a stream probably Saturday or Sunday. I don't know which day. I may do it Saturday. Intellectual mass debaters. Brother Cuban Crisis, I'm going to get in touch with you when I end the stream, brother. I might want you on this one, Intellectual Mass Debaters. So I'm going to contact you after I end the stream. Family, thank you all for joining me this evening. I'm going to do a quick promo before I end the stream, though. Stand by, family. We'll do a quick promo before I end the stream.
Get your copy of Fire. It's definitely a must-read. If you enjoy hood books, this one is it. Just like the title of the book, it's officially Fire. Get it on Amazon, paperback or Kindle.
The once goal-driven, ambitious Sapphire turns to the street life after the sudden death of her big brother Dre. Dre's best friend Devontae tries to honor his homeboy's last request of looking out for his baby sister. A rebellious Sapphire makes it very difficult for Devontae to carry out his promise.
My other channel, The Enemy's Public Presents. I will be doing a program called Vocal Dynamics. So when you get a chance, subscribe to my other channel, The Enemy's Public Presents. Thank you, my brothers and sisters, for joining me this evening. This is The Enemy's Public. I am Bro.Nasir. Like, share, subscribe. Leave a comment in the comment section. Peace.